So good morning, everybody. And we're revising a very beautiful Murli this morning about the spiritual way of celebrating Holi and burning Holi. And really, for me, the best way to listen and understand this is certainly in soul consciousness. The Supreme Soul is always soul conscious. So in order for me to connect and understand what he's telling me, I also need to be on the same wavelength. So I need to be in soul consciousness. And like that, I can get the meaning of what he is actually telling me, which sometimes, because we're so used to being body conscious, is not obvious. But as I unpack it in soul consciousness, it becomes so clear and just so beautiful what he is telling us, and just how much love he has for us and wants us to feel and experience. Thank you.
Today, the highest Father has come to meet his holy swans. The intellect of each of the holy swans is constantly filled with pearls, gems, and jewels of knowledge. The sprinkle of water emerging from the eyes and foreheads of all the children is of love and of fragrant deep love. In return, the Father is playing with a sprinkle of water of the 8 powers, that is, the 8 colors that emerge from the eyes of all the children. The Father sees how, with the physical color, you make everyone the same color as that one. In the same way, with the spiritual color of every power, you become embodiments of every power. You become the form of every virtue.
Such a beautiful passage to hear. And what I'm really taking from it is our incredible fortune, this time of the world, when I can connect with the Supreme Soul through love, and what I'm receiving, and the reason I have so much love for the Supreme Soul is what he gives me. We just heard how we get all the colors, we get colored by the colors. And so these colors are the Supreme Soul's love, his qualities, his virtues, his powers. He wants us to be so close to him that we can be colored by all those beautiful qualities, virtues, and powers. And that just changes our lives. So empowering. And that is what he wants us to take. He really, really, really wants us to take those from him. And he's explaining that this is what is on offer from the Supreme Soul.
With a matchstick of thoughts, whatever waste thoughts you have, put them all together and put a matchstick to them. Gather them all together and put the matchstick of determined thoughts to them. So burn and celebrate. That is, make yourself constantly holy. When you have a connection and relationship with the Father, when there is enough phosphate of practice of the matchstick, then as soon as you have the thought, you become that in a second.
Again, so beautiful that Baba doesn't give us just one aspect. You know, he's telling us what is the Supreme Soul, doesn't give us just one aspect. He tells us the complete picture, that he is offering us so much love But as well as that, he's explaining to us where our weaknesses lie that we need to pay attention to and to put right again. And so he's got this lovely analogy of the match and the matchbox. And so the Supreme Soul is the matchbox, and we are the match. So we can use our match in different ways. We can use it to set fire to our weaknesses, and we can also use it in the same context, actually, he was putting as a determined thought to get rid of our weaknesses. So he put those two together, of course. But also this match, he's saying, must come into contact with the matchbox. And so if we don't have that continual practice of lighting that match, of being close to the Supreme Soul, then we won't be able to have that relationship with him that will enable us to do things without effort. If we have the relationship but not the practice, we don't get there quickly enough. There would be an opportunity for weaknesses to come in between. And so, but this beautiful analogy of the match being the Supreme Soul himself, and we being the matchstick, we have to practice our relationship with the Supreme Soul. And of course, he makes that as easy as possible for us because he offers us so much, gives us so many reasons to love him and have a relationship with him. Because we won't become an embodiment of that virtue in a second if we hadn't made the effort to keep practicing, in other words.
Those people embrace one another when celebrating a meeting, whereas you, holy swans, have become the garland around the Father's neck. Having become the garland of sparkling jewels, you constantly spread light into the world. Each of you jewels is a form of a sparkling light, giving more light than even 1,000 bulbs could give. You sparkling jewels, you know your form of light and might, do you not?
So beautiful. So isn't it wonderful, the memorials that are created on the path of devotion, and has carried on, hasn't it? This idea of everybody embracing each other when they meet. And the Supreme Soul is telling us the fact that we can be the garland around his neck. He's giving us every reason to become that. And so we are then permanently around the Supreme Soul's neck. And he says we're all jewels, but not just any old jewel. We are such sparkling jewels because we're being filled with so much power and so much goodness, in a way, of our virtues, that we just sparkle like 1,000 light bulbs. I mean, that's the most beautiful thing to hear, that is what's on offer, that we don't have to go around hugging each other because we have this beautiful knowledge that we have everything we've been given everything so that we are jewels around the neck of the Father. It's just so beautiful. And that a tilak is already there. We don't have to apply a tilak. We have this feeling of God being the most important person, or Supreme Being being the most important being that ever existed, who gives us so much that there's no question of needing a tilak. We feel we are married to this beautiful energy. that gives us so much love, so much love. And that's what we want from being married, isn't it? To have someone who loves us hugely. And we do, we have that. So absolutely beautiful. Yes, constantly decorated with the jewelry of virtues. So lovely. Yeah.
You have now attained the fortune of the kingdom, so why do you still battle? Therefore, set fire to the habits of working hard, the habits of battling, and the old sticks of thoughts. You are master almighty authorities, ones with all powers. And so, as soon as you have the thought, you experience it. Have this easy practice now. Put the treasure of elevated thoughts into practice.
Beautiful. Yes. It just makes me think of something that's from this particular Murli, where Baba is emphasizing the fact that he's telling us you are spiritual roses. And so we spiritual roses, we can shower everyone with spiritual fragrance. And so because we're roses, we can sprinkle everyone with rose water. And so this beautiful analogy that this rose, that rose, you as a rose, spiritual rose, we can sprinkle everybody with rose water. So beautiful, so beautiful. Thank you.
What it means to be aware that you are a soul. The soul is eternal and divine. And the soul is the embodiment of peace, love, and happiness. When you are in ignorance or in confusion, you feel that only sometimes you are aware of your nature, only sometimes you are giving, only sometimes you are good or compassionate. The spiritual knowledge would say, make that constant. Whatever is your true nature, make it constant. You don't need to celebrate only one day, like you celebrate now Christmas, or how it was in our discussion, celebration of the festival of Holi in India. But why celebrating only one day or 2 days? Why not realizing that the soul is in constant celebration? Make it constant and make it subtle. To be aware that you are a soul means to be aware that everything about you is subtle. You are not what you think you are. And if you look at all the images that you have offered, and when you use external colors, the invitation is look at the colors that you have inside, the colors of the powers. When you shower others with flowers, what about understanding that you have to become a flower? You cannot remain like a thorn and prick others in your mind, but offering their flowers with your hand. Or when you create a garland and when you want to express your affection for others, but what about being that light, like you explained, very beautiful light of 1,000 bulbs? Be constantly in a higher stage. And all these habits of burning, people are burning and cleaning outside, and they burn the rubbish and they burn the evil. And the spiritual invitation is make it subtle. That will finish what is outside. When you burn the old habits, when you burn anger and waste and greed and ego and attachment, When you burn all of them inside, then they will finish outside. So the invitation from the spiritual model is make your soul awareness constant, not only sometimes. Do not be kind and good only for Christmas. And do not create a new behavior only in the first week of 2025. Make it constant and realize how subtle is everything about you. Withdraw your attention from the outer world and work at the subtle level, and you will see amazing results. Would you like to suggest a practice for today?
Yes, I would actually. Thank you. For me, it's the fact that Baba is offering us so much love that it makes me want to be very aware today of everything I do. Would this please the one that I love? On every level, whether it's how clean and tidy my room and bathroom are, how virtuous I can be towards the people I live with. Just have a complete checking all through the day of, are these acts what the one who gives me so much love, and I want to show my love to him, that he would be very pleased with this, and that it would make me feel very light and happy.
Thank you. That's wonderful. We meet again tomorrow at the same time. Thank you. Bye-bye.